Welcome in, everybody. It is Wind Up Wednesday, and this is week 12. We are talking Thanksgiving Day props. So we're going to do things just a little bit differently, I should say, for this week's TNF PrizePicks prop show brought to you by PrizePicks.com. I'm your girl, Lauren Carpenter. You can find me at Stepmom Lauren. So yeah, we're talking about 3 games on Thanksgiving. So that's what this show is going to be based on. Normally I'll go over some of the weekly starts, fades, our all-day rosés, our no-way Chardonnays. But in this show, we are just going to go over the 3 excellent matchups that we have ready and waiting for us to consume along with our turkey and our stuffing and our family arguments. And eventually when it turns into politics and religion, and then we all just decide to maybe, I don't know, get a little wind up. But here we are, everybody. And if you have not signed up for PrizePicks yet, first of all, what are you waiting for? That's always going to be the thing I say. What are you waiting for? PrizePicks is so easy. It is so fun. It is simply over, unders, more or less on player props. What's a player prop? How many receiving yards is this guy going to get? How many rushing yards do you think this guy is going to get? And then you say over, under. And what's really cool about PrizePicks is that it's not just simply receiving yards, rushing yards, passing yards. All sorts of stats are on the table. It's also not just football. There are tons of different sports that are available to you over on PrizePicks.com. And even better, head on over there. Like I said, PrizePicks.com. See that logo right over there? If I can get my directions right there. PrizePicks.com. If you use the promo code FTN, just like here at our network, FTN, you get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. It's free money to play with. So you put in $100, you get an extra $100. That means $200 that you can have to play around with. And we have so many wonderful prop shows that we have. We have so many great things going on, but mine particularly is the best one out of all of them, obviously. And that is for the Thursday night games, like I said. But when you do your picks, all right, head on over to FTN Daily. You know, I'll get it right one of these days. FTNdaily.com, because we have a free picks tracker tool. And you can put in your picks. And then you can follow along with us at FTN, and you can see what we're doing, because we put our picks in there as well. We grade them as we go. And then we have a free Discord chat for our prize picks. Up at the top, there's a little chat bubble there at the top of the website, and both of those are free to you, which is pretty awesome. And another awesome thing we have over at both FTN Daily and FTN Bets, we have 20% off. Actually, right now, we have 30% off. We have 30% Black Friday deals going on right now. It is incredible. You can see just how amazing everything is over there behind that sneaky paywall. And right now, I believe it's 30% off. Now, I think there's a particular promo code for that one. It's not mine, because usually I'll tote my promo code, which is SML, but that only gets you 20% off. Right there. See, right there. But if you go ahead and take advantage of our Black Friday deal, and we've tweeted it out, it's on the social. So check us out over at FTN Fantasy on Twitter. Check it out. There's a promo code there to get 30% off. You can see just how amazing it is. But head on over to PrizePicks.com to follow along with this show and all the picks that I have picked out for you, and use the promo code FTN at PrizePicks.com to get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. And my producer, Fox Extraordinaries, just told me the promo code to get 30% off is obviously Gravy30. So Gravy30 for Black Friday gets you 30% off. If it happens, maybe you're watching the show a little bit later and you're like, hey, I want to sign up for FTN, then you can use my promo code and get 20% off if this has already expired. But alas, we have some interesting picks going on. PrizePicks is doing some fun stuff right now. Not only do we have basically a free square, but we have a 6-leg parlay that you can do right now. I couldn't believe it. 6 legs. Normally, the max is 5. But before we get into that, let's hop right in and give you the free square. That's our lineup. Let's do the free square there, producer extraordinaire. I don't know if we have a graphic for that, but if you don't, Justin Jefferson, everybody. Justin Jefferson's line, okay? It's normally pretty, high up there, right? Justin Jefferson's, he's a really good wide receiver, in case you didn't know. Oh, that's if Kirk Cousins decides to actually do something. But what's really great about this is primetime Kirk Cousins, which is, but PrizePicks is giving you the chance to only have to go over on 1/2 of a receiving yard for Justin Jefferson. 1/2. So if he gets a receiving yard, you make that square. Super simple. That means you automatically win that line. Here's the caveat though, just to let everybody know. Your max amount that you can bet using this free square, I put that in air quotes there because it's not technically free, but you know, he's likely to get at least one receiving yard, but you can only bet a maximum of $20. So if you make one parlay and you put in a $20 bet, you can no longer use that Justin Jefferson square. If you want to do like a $5 bet as you go along, you can use it up to 4 times because 5 times 4 is 20. So you can really only do a max bet of 20 when you use that free Justin Jefferson square. Again, Justin Jefferson's line has been slashed to 1/2 of a receiving yard. That does expire. All right. So make sure you get your lines. Make sure you get your parlays in before that expires so that you can take advantage of that free square. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Thursday games that we have upcoming for Thanksgiving, which again are going to be super awesome. Producer Fox, if you wouldn't mind throwing that graphic back up there again for me so I can remember what they are because I've already forgotten. Bills versus Lions. Lions are always, they have to play on Thanksgiving. It's kind of their thing. That is going to be the 12 o'clock game, 12:30 game, actually, I believe it is. Then we have the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys, who just steamrolled the Vikings. And speaking of the Vikings, we have the Patriots at Minnesota. Those are the 3 games that we have for you for Thanksgiving. Super exciting. Also, my mouse decided it wanted to die right as we were getting started with this. And this is what's super exciting about this because there are so many good lines, not only just for PrizePicks on your over-under player props, but there are some juicy starters in here too. So as I am talking to you about the player props, keep that in mind for who you think that you should be starting and sitting on Thanksgiving Day. So let's hop right into our very first matchup, which, as I said before, are the Buffalo Bills, headed by none other than the most amazing Josh Allen. Thank goodness they broke that losing streak. Am I right? They are going up against the Detroit Lions at 12:30, and this is going to be in Detroit. Luckily, the Bills had already traveled there thanks to the ginormous snowstorm, so they're just already posted up in Detroit. It's almost like a home game for them at this point, right? But we have some interesting lines here. I loved the Gabriel Davis line, right? Stefon Diggs is obviously going to be that alpha dog wide receiver 1. I do have Stefon Diggs in a line as well, but I particularly liked the receiving yards for Gabriel Davis. The line is at 58.5 as of this recording date, right? So as of this recording date, 58.5 or 58 and a hook if you're nasty. I love this, and I'm going the over on this, and I think that he can hit this in literally as few as 2 or 3 receptions. He averages 21.1 yards per reception, and that's 68 yards per game. And the Lions, I don't know if you've noticed this, they struggle on defense. So he can easily get this done. And the Lions also are known for giving up really big plays. So the line at 58.5 was beautiful. I'm going the over for Gabriel Davis there on the receiving yards for the Buffalo Bills. And as I mentioned, this doesn't need much hashtag analysis. It's Stefon Diggs. I took him at an over on a receiving touchdown. There's really not much else left to do here except take a sip of our beverage of choice. Let me know what it is. Like, hit me up on the Twitter machine, Stepmom Lauren, or even on Instagram. Let me know what your vino of choice is. I won't tell you mine. You'll have to guess. Give some wild guesses and let me know what you think it is that I am indulging in on this lovely evening as we head into Thanksgiving. My last one is another one that doesn't need much analysis either. It is Jamal Williams. I took him at over, get this, at least one, either passing, rushing, or receiving touchdown. Jamal Williams has been good for this. He has scored a touchdown in back-to-back games. He gets a big chunk of work in the red zone. DeAndre Swift gets a lot of work in between the 20s. He's really known for his explosive playability, but Jamal Williams finds himself in the end zone more often than not. And it doesn't matter how he gets there, whether he passes it, whether he rushes it in, or whether he catches a pass in the end zone. As long as it's one, you hit the over. I absolutely love this line. So again, just real quick, I'll run through these. We have Gabriel Davis over at 58.5 receiving yards. I have Stefon Diggs at over a half of a receiving touchdown. And I have Jamal Williams at over any kind of touchdown, any kind you can possibly imagine. If he gets in the end zone, that's an over. So I did a 3-leg parlay on this. Now, these lines with PrizePicks, what they do is not only do they change, but as you get closer to the start of the game, they will add more statistics. Oh, easy for you to say, statistics in there for you to choose from. These were the best available for me when I looked at them today. So I only did a 3-leg parlay because I wasn't really comfortable with the other lines for that game. But that doesn't matter. You can do 3. You can do as few as 2, and you can go all the way up to 6. I decided to play it safe, and I did a 3-leg parlay. And I actually stuck with that 3-leg parlay as I went through the rest of the matchups, just because, like I said, the lines there were a little too tight. These were the ones that stood out the most for me. And always remember, bet what you're comfortable with. You do not have to do a 6-leg parlay or a 5-leg. Do what you're comfortable with, bet what you can afford, and bet what you're comfortable with. Let's go ahead and move on to the next matchup that we have for you. This is the 431. This is the one where you're like, I'm so stuffed with food. And I'm like, I just need to sit on the couch and watch this game. But you'll probably wake up from your tryptophan coma pretty quickly because this matchup is going to be super fun. It is the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. I love this, okay? And the Dallas Cowboys somehow found a way to be both really good and yet struggle at the same time. And I think that the Giants will be able to exploit the Dallas Cowboys. And I also think the Cowboys can exploit the Giants. So hopefully this will be a nice high scoring game for you. But the first line that I want to take a look at is Tony Pollard. There's been a situation here between Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. And I know this is like, oh, who's usurping the other? Who's the RB1? This really is no longer a situation of RB1, RB2. We're talking about RB1A and RB1A. They're both so unique and talented, and it is what it is that they do, right? So Zeke is that, especially right now, since he's kind of coming off of injury, he's more of a Jamal Williams type. And then DeAndre Swift is more of the Tony Pollard type. They're starting to really feel their identities. So when I saw this line for Tony Pollard at 66.5 rushing yards, I had to smash the over. The New York Giants are giving up over 113 yards per game to running backs. Zeke, as I mentioned, is still kind of managing that injury issue, which he said he's fine, but yeah, you never know when it comes to Ezekiel Elliott. And Tony Pollard's been putting up over 67 rushing yards in the last 4 games, and he's hit 67 rushing yards in 6 out of the last 10 games that he has played. So for me, 66.5, all he has to do is hit 67 rushing yards. He can do that in one giant big play or 2 big plays, which you know Tony Pollard is always good for. Sticking with the Cowboys, I went ahead and I looked at Dak Prescott. Now this line is, you could consider it a little aggressive. I did have to take a double take on this one because Dak is not exactly the biggest mobile quarterback. So when it comes to the passing and rushing, which is what I have here, I have him on the over on a combined passing and rushing yardage of 259.5. So if he hits 260, he gets the over. Here's what's interesting. Even though, as I mentioned, he doesn't have a ton of rushing yards, the last 2 weeks he has passed for over that amount. So that's 260. He's passed for 265 and then 276 respectively. So he can actually pass for higher than this line even is. So even if he adds a few stats, few yards, pads the rushing just a little bit, that even helps the over on the pass and rushing yards for Dak Prescott, which I really liked. And again, we're talking about the Giants here. If you want to look at the averages, it looks a little scary. They've allowed just 231.5 combined passing and rushing yards to quarterbacks. However, they did just allow 324 passing yards to Jared Goff. So there's that. So I really like this line for Dak Prescott. It seemed a little aggressive, but once I really kind of started diving into it, I actually really like it. So I hit the over on Dak Prescott at 259.5 passing and rushing yards. Last but not least, this is another, hashtag no analysis needed. Saquon Barkley. Come on, Matt Breida, don't do this to me, okay? Matt Breida, go away. You are so fantasy annoying, and that touchdown should have been Saquon Barkley's, and the Lions actually held him quite well, to be completely honest with you. So I have him at the over. Again, I did the Jamal Williams look here, an over of a combined either passing, rushing, or receiving touchdown. So I don't care how Saquon Barkley gets into the end zone. If he gets in there at least once, you smash the over. So let me just reiterate this one more time for you. Let me repeat it just real quick. I have Tony Pollard over 66.5 rushing yards, Dak Prescott over 259.5 combined passing and rushing yards, and I have Saquon Barkley over any kind of a touchdown you could possibly imagine. Sorry, I know I'm shaking my laptop right now. No, there's not an earthquake. Everything is fine. As I said, my mouse and then my backup mouse both decided to die right at the nice time. So I got to reach over to my laptop, and then I'm very animated when I speak. So it looks like things are crazy. It's just, meant to keep you on your toes. Don't get nauseous though. Don't get nauseous. Everything's going to be okay. You can look away if you'd like, but I prefer you don't. I put a lot of effort into my hair and makeup. Let's move on to the final matchup. This is the 8:20 game. This is the one that I really hope the Vikings can get right in, but it's against the Patriots, so this is going to be hard. Plus, it's primetime Andy Dalton. No, primetime Kirk Cousins. There is also a primetime Andy Dalton, which is a thing too. Always be aware. But primetime Kirk Cousins is not much better. We are looking at the New England Patriots at the Minnesota Vikings for that evening game. And again, I'm going with one of the easy ones, the passing, rushing, receiving, touchdown, Dalvin Cook. Let's go, man. Dalvin Cook, if he gets in the end zone somehow, some way, you win that line. Again, no analysis really needed here. This is Dalvin Cook. God forbid, knock on wood, he gets hurt. That's really the only way you're going to miss this one. I say that now. You never know. Alexander Madison could be a snipe. No snipey. But I do like Dalvin Cook's line here. The Patriots defense is very good. They're very, very stingy, especially when it comes to running backs. So this could be considered pretty aggressive, but at the same time, it is Dalvin Cook. I do trust him more so than other running backs in this league to get into the end zone. The next one I thought was kind of interesting. This is Jakobi Meyers. And we don't talk about Jakobi Meyers a lot. It's not super sexy, but, neither is Mac Jones. So this line was interesting. This is 50.5 receiving yards. I went the over on this. This is admittedly a little bit tight, but he's right at that 51-52 mark. And I think that he can get this, especially if this game starts to turn into a little bit, I don't want to call it a shootout because I don't think it'll be a shootout, but Mac Jones needs to throw to somebody, and that somebody is usually Jakobi Meyers. And he has had 51 yards in 6 of the 8 games that he has played so far this year. So I do like this line. It may be tight. This may be the edge of your seat one if you decide to do just this game and do a parlay just for this game. If this one makes you feel uncomfortable, I totally get it. But I have faith in Jakobi Meyers. I actually think he's going to score a touchdown in this one. So I hit the over for Jakobi Meyers on 50.5 rushing yards. Last but not least, as I mentioned, primetime Kirk Cousins. I'm so sorry for you, Kirk. I guess the chains are gone and the shirt's back on. It's the dorky, like, let me have your daughter home by 9, button up shirt instead of, the she calls me daddy too with the chains and no shirt on the plane and doing a really weird dance, but I guess it was okay. Yeah, I have him over at an interception. Just one. All I need is one. I think he might be good for it, especially against the Patriots, who have forced 11 turnovers so far this season. We're heading into week 12. I think he can do it. They're also very good for creating any kind of turnover. And I'm pretty sure that Kirk Cousins trying to force feed his boy, Justin Jefferson, is likely to turn into a turnover. So I did the over on a half of an interception for Kirk Cousins. And like I did for the last 2 matchups, I'm going to real quickly just reiterate to you what I have for the Patriots at Vikings game. It is the over on at least a half. So, I'm betting on one somehow touchdown from Dalvin Cook. I'm also going over on Jakobi Meyers, 50.5 receiving yards. And I'm also betting that Kirk Cousins throws an interception. Again, with the shaking of the laptop, I'm betting he throws an interception. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, PrizePicks is offering a really cool thing right now where we do a 6-leg parlay. I also do want to mention, everybody, that you can use that Justin Jefferson line, that half of a receiving yard. You can put those in any single game you want to do. That's what's cool about PrizePicks. You don't have to stick with just one game. I just thought it would be neat to break down some picks per game on Thanksgiving. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a look at a 6-leg parlay that includes Justin Jefferson on this, which I think is pretty neat. Payout is pretty high too for these, which is really fun. A little bit riskier because your chances of missing are much higher. But let's go ahead and take a look at my 6-leg parlay that, of course, features Justin Jefferson, so we won't really go over that one too much. But this is fun. Again, the Tony Pollard one. I'm sticking with that line because I really, really like over 66.5 rushing yards. Next one, Gabriel Davis. I went ahead and I just plucked right from that game, over 58.5 receiving yards. And this was one I did not bring up when we talked about the Bills-Lions game. I like the Josh Allen line as well. It is 290.5 on his projected passing yards only. Now, you can do that against the Detroit Lions. They are weak in their secondary. They are weak on defense. They are one of the better offenses in the league, but their defense is struggling. They have gotten better over the last several weeks after they fired their defensive coordinator, but still, they can be easily exploited. And if we are going to bet that Gabe Davis is going to get 60 or plus receiving yards, you can bet Stephon Diggs is going to do pretty well, and you can bet that Josh Allen is going to be throwing. Another thing that the Buffalo Bills do as well is they don't stop when they're ahead. They don't rely on the run game. They keep throwing the football. So I have a feeling that this will be an easy line for Josh Allen to hit, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring that up. Also, feel free to use that in other bets too on the Bills-Lions game. I just didn't happen to see that one until I made my 6-leg parlay. So here it is in the 6-leg parlay. Now let's go to the other three that I have for you, which of course includes the Justin Jefferson. And look at that. Look at that all-day rosé wine glass up there. Producer Fax, you're so extraordinary. That's a big thumbs up for Justin Jefferson. As we said, that is hashed, hacked down, slashed. I just called it hashed. That's cool. Can that be a thing? I don't think we should make it a thing. I'm just kidding. But all he has to do, like I said, is have one receiving yard. Again, I went with the Dalvin Cook one here. This one's pretty easy. Over any kind of a touchdown. If he passes one, runs one, or catches one in the end zone, you got that line. And I bring up Saquon Barkley here, and this was another one that actually popped up after I had already made my bet previously when I came back to the app and I started looking at some more lines. This one was brand new. This was 22.5 receiving yards for Saquon Barkley. One of the things that really stinks about the Giants offense here is they lost Wan'Dale Robinson, who was one of my favorite new wide receivers. Like he was absolutely extraordinary, but unfortunately he has a torn ACL. So he's out. Darius Slayton should do really well, but I think Darius Slayton is even going to struggle without someone like Wan'Dale Robinson being able to draw and distract defenses. Richie James is okay, but I think that's going to mean an increased usage for Saquon Barkley in the passing game in order for Daniel Jones to not get sacked. He's going to need to have to pass two people in that offense. 22.5 receiving yards. That seems very doable for me heading into that one. So I won't go back through all of those 6. You can just rewind it and take a look at it, or you can message me and I'll send you a screenshot of it if you'd like, because it's really long. We didn't want to squeeze it right in the screen, because otherwise you need a magnifying glass to read exactly what all of those lines are. But Thanksgiving is always a really, really fun time, everybody. So please enjoy yourself. If you're frying a turkey, please don't put it in boiling oil, frozen. It will explode. Just, PSA announcement. Everyone, I really hope that you have an awesome Thanksgiving. I hope you crush your week 12. Remember, head on over to PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code FTN to get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. Play around with these Thanksgiving Day games, guys. We have 3 games. I normally only get to talk about 1. And in my show today, I get to talk about 3. And don't forget, you can do any combination of those picks. Those just happen to be the ones that stood out the most for me for the best potential to be able to hit. So make your combinations, do as few, as little, do as many as you like. Remember, with the Justin Jefferson line, with the Justin Jefferson line. I don't really know if that actually works. Justin. Is that a name? I don't think it is a name. Either way, his name is Justin. With his line, over half a receiving yard, because it's that promo, the max amount you can bet either in one or many bets can only equal 20. That's it. You can only put $20 on that. I mean, it makes sense. You're getting a free line. Am I right? So good luck, everybody. Remember, head on over to ftndaily.com. Put your picks in there. Follow along with us. You can use that free PrizePicks Discord channel. It's in the chat bubble at the top. And also remember, you can follow me as well at Stepmom Lauren on Instagram and on Twitter. You can also find me and all my work on my website. This video actually will be on my website a little bit later if you want to rewatch it again and listen to me stumble over names and drink my wine. That's not really wine. I'll give you guys a couple of guesses to figure out what it is. Maybe I'll give something away for the first person who gets it right. All right, everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Good luck in week 12, and I'll see you next week.